everyone, and welcome once again to SALCC Updates, a program produced by the St Louis Community College to give you news and information about what's happening at your national tertiary institution. My name is Nathalie Joile-Fanis, and it's a pleasure to be here with you once again. We are back at the NTN studios. We had a short break where we did some programs on our very scenic campus, and I hope you were able to view those and enjoy them. But we are happy to work with the GIS staff to once again bring you an interview with some very special guests who are visiting us from Canada. And I'll tell you a little bit more about them and about the program in a while. But just to let you know, happening this week at the college on Thursday from 2 p.m., we will be bringing a lecture presented by Principal Dr. Keith Nurse on the relevance and importance of carnivals in our identity as Caribbean people, and it's in celebration of African people in the diaspora in the Americas. So be sure to tune in to our YouTube and Facebook page. It will be live streamed, and so you can join that presentation live on Thursday at 2 p.m. and we're looking forward to that. Also, I want to thank all of you who applied to the college for our regular programs. Our application period closed on April 30th, and we're also happy to report that we held a very successful entrance exam for our secondary school leavers in math and English, and they turned out in large numbers to write those exams to secure their places at the college. We still have open some short courses that you can do over the summer period. It's no longer on the website, but you can contact the college via email or our WhatsApp platform. For our short DIY courses, you can email sec@salcc.edu.lc. And for some of our access courses in physics, chemistry, and math and foreign languages, you can email our pre-college unit at precollege@salcc.edu.lc. And there's one more program that we are definitely going to have to reopen applications to, and we have with us today members of the organizing committee or the organizations that have put together this program. So it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Lord Abbey and Dr. David Parks, who are both from the Dalhousie University, working with the St Louis Community College and with the National Skills Development Center, NSDC, to bring us this program, particularly in the area of climate smart agriculture and crop production. So welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for joining me here today.
Thank you. It's great
and
to
welcome
be
to
here.
St Lucia. Is this your first visit?
Yeah, my very first visit, and I'm so excited.
So it's Dr. Abbey's first visit? And
it's my second visit.
It's your second visit.
I was here just before the pandemic in 2020.
So
I'm happy to be back. It's my first travel experience in 26 months, and it couldn't be spent in a better place.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to hear that. So, gentlemen, we are here to talk about what we call the SAGE program, yes, which is a skills in the green economy specifically. And I know you said 2020, so I know over the last 2 years, the college has been working with a consortium of colleges and universities in Canada to bring about this program. And I know there are other islands involved, but today we're going to focus on St. Lucia.
Certainly.
So David, let's start with you. Give us an overview of what's involved in this new program offering.
So the SAGE is the Skills to Access the Green Economy, and it's a Government of Canada funded project. It's sort of managed by Colleges and Institutes Canada, and they've chosen 6 partnerships throughout the Caribbean region, of which St. Lucia is one, and it's focused on climate smart crop production and agro-processing. So within crop production, we're looking at agro-processing and value addition as well. And it consists of Dalhousie University as the project lead. We're based in Nova Scotia, Canada, and Algonquin College is based in Ontario, and they're handling the student services and the student success portion of the project. Mm-hmm. And the two most important partners are our St. Lucian partners, Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and the National Skills Development Center. And we're working together to develop programs and educational offerings that really graduate students who are linked to the job market, so that every student who graduates will have had a work-integrated learning experience, an internship, and also enter the job market with the skills that the industry needs. so that students' time and resources isn't wasted, and that they graduate, they're educated for employment.
Oh, great. That sounds really good. Very practical component of that. So, David, tell us about your role in this project.
So, my role as a coordinator of the lead partner is to, well, it's certainly been challenging over the last 2 years, but we've accomplished so much remotely. We would have never dreamed it possible. But Dalhousie's portion of the project is technical assistance, curriculum development, industry engagement, and managing the partnership. So every week, since April of 2020, we've had a virtual meeting with Algonquin College, Dalhousie, Sir Arthur Lewis, and the National Skills Development Center. Wow. And that really has sustained the project, and we've managed to make great advances, have trainings, engagements, and now that we can meet in person, we're here for this 2-week period to engage in some hands-on sort of collaboration, skills development, technical training. It's good to be here.
Okay, great. So I'm hearing that you are mainly responsible for the training aspect of things?
Yeah, the curriculum development and the training.
Okay,
so,
great.
And our partners, Algonquin College, their role is to support our partners to support students so that they are set up for success.
Okay, great. And let me just bring in Dr. Abbey right away. Yeah. Interesting name, Dr. Lord Abbey. Tell us about your role in this project.
Yeah, as I've introduced myself already, I'm a professor at Dalhousie University. So as a professor, I teach and also do research. And my main area of research focus is on horticulture. So I look at plant production, greenhouse production, and how all this comes together to improve our food system and human health, food security, nutrition security. So my role here basically is to help, with food production. And how do we do this? We have to research. So my role here is, as a researcher, is to train or work with the staff at the SALCC research farm, so that we can do some collaborative research to see how we can improve the food production system using climate smart agricultural technologies to enhance food production basically.
Well, that sounds exactly what we need here in St. Lucia, and with Sir Arthur Lewis Community College as the lead institution where we have a model farm that can be used to execute many of the methodologies that you are talking about. Yeah. I think this is a great collaboration. We normally just take like a quick break in between. Right. So before we get into the meat of the program, I will just go to break for a quick minute. We ask you to stay with us as we continue our conversation with Mr. David Parks and Dr. Lord Abbey. We'll be right back.
The future is ever-changing. Communities, jobs, and economies are continually being transformed. This is why we need incredible minds to connect problems with innovative solutions, to disrupt and create new industries, to enable businesses to think sustainably, to shape evidence-based leaders and the next generation of visionaries. SALCC helps you to shape your career. Your passion is calling. Your future is standing by. Tap into your potential. Virtual and on-site classes, dedicated faculty, diverse student experiences, and highly recognized programs. Sir Arthur Lewis Community College. Apply today and fast-track your career.
Welcome back to SALCC Updates, and I'm here with Mr. David Parks and Dr. Lord Abbey, who are from Dalhousie University, working with the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College and the NSDC and putting together a program on climate smart agriculture with crop production. And before we went to break, we were speaking to Dr. Abbey about his role in the project, and he is a researcher, and we were speaking to all of the techniques that we can employ to create food security, and you spoke about nutrition. So Dr. Abbey, you've had an opportunity to visit the farm in the Mabwea Valley. Based on what you have seen and what you know, tell us what you've discovered and what we need to do to get to the point that you referred to.
Yeah, so we visited the farms, and we've seen some gardens around, and the food on market, and so quite interesting. Now, one thing probably that you don't know, I have to tell you that, is that I come from Ghana, so West Africa, and we are on the same latitude as St Lucia, same climatic region, so tropical rainforest, same type of food, and so on and so forth. And we face the same kind of situation, and I've done research in Ghana before and so on. So coming here, what I've seen is that land is an issue, right? As we all know, globally population is increasing, we need more food, but we can't increase land size. What we have is what we have, so we have to make good use of what we have. So basically, the intent here is to crop on the same piece of land that we have, by this time very intensively, because as we said, we want to use climate smart technologies and all this what we have to do. So cropping on a very small, intensively on a very small, on the same piece of land. And how do we do this? We have to do something like intercropping, we have to do mixed farming, we have to do mixed cropping. So these simple but sustainable systems, we have to employ them, because when we think about human health and food and so on and so forth, sometimes the tendency is to think about monocropping. So having your land, cutting the grass and everything, then if corn or if cassava, you crop all the way through. But this time I think we have to go back to the drawing board and then do mixed cropping. So that's the system that we want to adopt for now. So we're thinking about what is more like a staple, a high value crop that is most valuable to St. Lucians, And one thing that was mentioned is banana or plantain. Then what's next? The next one is what's also interesting that we want to incorporate into the system. They mentioned pumpkin, so we're going to do that. And then they mentioned also, cassava. But we have to think about the soil. The soil across the land is quite, not very healthy as such. You look at that because of the mountains and the valleys and all that. The soils are quite new and they are not very healthy. So we have to do our soil analysis and then see what we can do. Probably go into cover cropping to have some legumes which can fix nitrogen to improve the soil health, which is also a technology or a sustainable means of improving soil health. So we are working through all these things.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work that he's covered just in being here for a few days. But I guess, like you say, the landscape is familiar. By any chance, did you catch the banana exhibition?
No, we missed it.
We missed
it.
Yes. Yeah. So when you spoke to monocropping, I think that's what we did in St. Lucia for a long time. So you would have seen a lot of banana plantations around the island, and previously it was sugarcane.
Right.
So there are a few people who do a bit of backyard gardening, and we have been talking about diversifying for a while. But the strides that I guess we need to make in that is not happening. I'm so interested in hearing you talk about soil health, because I guess, and we wonder sometimes why certain things don't grow in certain soils. So I guess that's some of the information that you would be bringing and research that you would be bringing to the farm in particular.
Yeah.
Is the plan for the farm to be used as a model for other farmers? What is the intention of incorporating the farm into this project?
The farm is a wonderful resource, and I'd first like to recognize Lord is an excellent researcher, and everywhere he looks he sees projects and possibilities and questions that need to be solved. And even things like the cover crop that would, on your layered or your tiered growing of intercropping, that ground cover, it has great aspect of reducing sort of water usage because it reduces the evaporation, also weed control, so it reduces the labor. So these climate smart techniques that exist are not, they don't need to be sophisticated, they don't need to be technology. It's just combining things we've always done. And it can use less water, it can produce more products, and really less labor because of sort of the weed control that's involved in it. So I mean, Lord has a fascinating mind for agriculture and crop.
And from what you just said, we just need to go to the drawing board. We used to do this. Our grandparents, our forefathers, this is what they do, right? They mix cropping, mix farming, because it's not science, but they know, know that why they do that. And we've left all this. So we're just going back to what we already doing in the tropics, especially in developing countries. It's one thing. One other thing is also the use of compost, for instance. And you ask around, and it seems people don't do it, which is heartbreaking. You see people have cut the grass and everything. You ask, so what are you going to do with this grass? I've asked about 2 people these questions. They said we're going to dump it somewhere. And it's really So these are some of the things that we want to. Encourage the college or work with the college to SALCC to do, so that they can train the student, so that when they leave the college, at least they will have these techniques and tools to use for their farm, for sustainable farming.
And getting back to your question about the farm is a key component, and it's a key asset in all of this. Your farm is, I think, 40 acres. Yes. It's located in a extremely well placed area for crop production, but also for research. And the staff that are working there have a lot of capacity and a lot of vision, and so I can certainly sense that right now it's sort of in this forward. There's a forward momentum and sort of a vision towards the future of how do you do climate smart farming, not just climate smart crop production. So it will be a model. It will be a demonstration area for students to learn best practices, new practices, some old practices, bring back old practices, and it's a great asset to the college, and it's been wonderful to work there. This project, the project has 2 more years, and Lord's Applied Research Project will sort of be that full 2 years. But we look forward to a long sort of cooperation and collaboration with Sir Arthur Lewis and the farm.
We'll talk a little bit more about that. We have to take a second break, and then we will get into your curriculum development and some of the other training that you've been engaged in. Stay with us. We'll be right back to talk more about climate smart agriculture.
My name is Chavez Sufrin. I am a student at the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, and I am currently enrolled in the Agribusiness Entrepreneurship Program. The best part of this program is that I am able to do hands-on work at the SALCC farm in Mabia Valley, and also taking part in experiments at the school science labs. I also love learning about the business aspects of the farm and how it helps generate income for the school and for the workers.
170 dozen eggs a day come out of there.
Welcome back to SALCC Updates, and we are talking agriculture today, particularly climate smart agriculture. And I am here with some partners of the Sir Arthur Lewis Community College, our counterparts from Dalhousie University that have been working with us through SAGE. And we were just discussing all of the opportunities that are open to the SALCC to learn from researcher Dr. Lord Abbey, who is here with us from Dalhousie, and he has been sharing some of the climate smart techniques that wouldn't cost us much, from what you were saying, that we can employ to get our soils healthier and better for our nutrition and our production. So as part of the program, we have that research component going, which David just explained to us will go on for at least 2 years. But out of that, we are also getting a program that is on offer from September at the college. It's called Climate Smart Agriculture. And David was sharing how it will not just be an associate degree program, but they're also looking to have CVQs out of those. So David, I'll hand over to you now to tell us more about the Climate Smart program that Sir Arthur Lewis Community College will be offering.
Thanks, Nathalie. Yes, it is an associate degree. It's a 2-year program, but it has been validated for NVQ, and I believe it will be shortly will receive validation for CVQ. So it's exciting in that it's very responsive. I think it's responsive to the climate pressure that we face with changing climates and changing sort of seasons and rainy seasons and weather, intensity of weather, but also the challenge for youth employment. I think it has been structured like all of our programming that we do within colleges and institutes Canada. It's really to skill students for employment. Right. So every student that graduates will have had a work experience as part of their study, but will also have the skills to either seek a job or create a job. Because I think entrepreneurship has never been more important, because often we are self-employed, even when we don't declare ourselves a business. But for example, if you have tools, you're an entrepreneur. So we give different tools, not necessarily just physical tools, but also the technical tools to take a piece of land, take an idea, and grow and create a product, but also learn how to market that product, whether you sell it directly, whether you add value through processing. So it's the business planning. All of that is part of this climate smart crop production program that's being offered at Sir Arthur Lewis. So it is responsive, I think, to the environment, but also to the economy and the pressures that are on young people and the challenges that young people have to find employment. So every student that graduates will be prepared for the workplace or to create their own job.
That is excellent, and you made it sound very multifaceted, and I just want to break that down a little bit so people really get it. So it seems like the program tools the young people who are coming there in terms of learning how to do for themselves. Yes. So the curriculum that you're developing, and that program was developed from scratch, right? As an entirely new program.
Yes.
So you have the component of the theoretical aspects, you have the practical aspects, but you also have entrepreneurship and business planning as part of the program as well?
Sure. Now, it's a competency-based program, which means actually the theoretical is the smallest part. So it's less classroom and more field work, because, well, you can also teach theory sort of in the field. In fact, that I would argue that is one of the best places to learn it and see it applied. So so the skills, the competency-based, and the skills that are developed in the program are being assessed by instructors, and those skills are also transferred to the workplace. So all of the students who do go into the work integrated learning and the internship portion of the program, that's to sort of refine and improve those skills. And the employers will have an opportunity to also assess and sort of give feedback both to the student as well as the instructor on sort of the performance of the student. So it is, I would argue, it's less technical and it's much more competency based, so that the students do come out with the skills that industry requires.
Great, and as you mentioned industry, that was going to be my next question. Over this 2-year period where you've been developing this program, what kind of engagement have you had with industry?
So we have an industry advisory committee that was put together over a year ago, and we actually just met with them last Friday as well, our first in-person meeting, but we've met several times virtually. And well, they're important, they're essential, because they've offered feedback throughout the curriculum development process. They help to validate the curriculum to say that this is something that we need, that St Lucia needs, that employers and industry in the agricultural sector need. And also they're going to be key for facilitating the movement of students into the workplace for their practicums and for their workplace experience. So either receiving them themselves or identifying within their networks employers that would value having those students.
Okay, so you spoke about meeting every week in order to develop the curriculum, to do all of this research that has been happening. I'm not sure, I know Algonquin dealt with that a lot through marketing, but I know there is also an emphasis on gender equality and making it accessible to everyone. Can you speak a little bit to that? Would that be part of?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Algonquin College has done great work on this, and our project partners here at Sir Arthur and NSDC have developed gender plans and sort of gender action plans, but it is to ensure that the programs are welcoming to both male and female students. In fact, all of the decisions that are made and all of the directions that are taken within this program, within the climate smart crop production, on both the student success side and the curriculum side, are to be welcoming to both male and female students. So it sort of gender sensitive programming, guidance counseling, career pathways, that is an important component. Alongside sort of the gender lens and the sort of emphasizing the importance of both male and female students feeling welcomed and represented in the program, is that of vulnerable learners. So those could be learners with disabilities that require accommodations. Also vulnerable populations. So how do you market and recruit to populations who might not traditionally have been attracted to an agriculture program or even post-secondary education? So there's a number of groups, including both men and women, but also vulnerable learners and vulnerable populations, that it's important that the project be responsive to them and speak to them and include them. So it's that's at least half of the project is focusing on sort of all of those student supports and creating a very positive student experience that sets the student up for success and not for failure.
And as we speak to vulnerable populations, and I'm going to throw that out to both of you so that you can respond, and I'm sure you experienced that maybe in Ghana, there's a perception in St. Lucia that agriculture is hard work, it's only tilling the soil, and it's not attractive for young people to get into. How do you respond to that?
I like that topic because because anytime I meet in a forum and I have to talk about agriculture in developing countries, like Africa or somewhere, I talk about this. The problem, the main problem is that I remember when we were growing up in school, primary school, when you do something wrong in class, your teacher will give you cutlass, machete, to go and weed. That's your punishment. You may not go for lunch, but you have to go and weed. So when you come out of this, you see weeding or gardening or something as a punishment. Because some people after school, they have to go and do gardening, work in the school garden as a punishment. So we grew up not liking farming or gardening or agriculture based on this, So I think, but growing up, I realized it wasn't like that. So I wanted to do medicine at the university. I didn't get in, but I got agriculture. And I was so sad and mad at myself. And my dad has to talk to me. But I've realized that I benefited from doing agriculture. And what I've been telling people is that, when I'm teaching or talking to high school students and all that, I tell them, gardening or farming is not a punishment. And I also tell teachers, don't use gardening as a form of punishment. When a child does something, find a way of punishing, but don't say go and weed or go and harvest from the garden or go and work in the, So that's the problem with developing. And I'm sure St. Lucia too, there will be a form of that kind of thing. So if we can, and if you go to Canada and elsewhere, Britain and all elsewhere, it's not like that at all. So you find a child and you ask the child, what do you want to become in future? The child would boldly tell you, I want to be a farmer or something, Whereas in developing countries, no.
Clear.
So that's the dilemma, that we are in. So we have to let the children, especially in the elementary school, we have to start from there.
Definitely.
Elementary school children know that, know where our food comes from, and know that our food comes from the soil, it comes from healthy soil. And how do we maintain healthy soil? And how do we even get the food? How does it grow and so and so forth? So this is what we have to teach our children to grow with, so that when at a certain point, they will love to, to farm, to feed the world.
Value agriculture.
Value agriculture.
That is a great way for us to end. Unfortunately, our time is up, but it's been a pleasure speaking to you, David Parks, and Dr. Lloyd Abbey from the University of Dalhousie. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay in St. Lucia, and we look forward to having you again.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yes. This
our
has been
pleasure.
SALCC Updates. Thank you for staying with us. We look forward to seeing you again next week. Stay safe.